Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great beginning to your weekend out there so far. Here to bring you the latest on what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire lower 48 for your Saturday. We'll speak on that. All in all, not a very active day, weather day at all. The southeast could see some tropical rains. We'll speak on that, zoom into a couple areas that I am concerned a little bit about a risk of flash flooding. But outside of that, we'll speak on everybody else, but I can tell you nothing too significant happening across the lower 48 for today. But we will give you an update on the tropics for the first half of the video. So we'll actually speak on that first. And there is something we're watching off the coast of the southeast that could develop into a depression or our next named storm, which is Helene. Helene, not Helen, Helene. I had to actually get my wife in here to make sure I was saying it right because I wanted to say Helen, but it's Helene. Helene. So that could develop off the coast of the Carolinas and then kind of move back inland and make a landfall, across the Carolinas and bring a lot of rain. So we need to talk about that. Do I think this is going to be anything major, guys, significant? It could bring some significant impacts to isolated areas, but I would say all in all, if I had to give a yes or no, I would say no. So I would not freak out about this, but we definitely need to speak on it because we know that sometimes these systems that develop really close to home, we call it homegrown activity, could do some tricky things. So we'll speak on that. We'll speak on the rest of the tropics, talk about an area in the Caribbean that I do think we need to watch over the next 7 to 10 days that could develop something. We'll speak on a tropical storm out here in the Atlantic. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like, and if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So let's see if our thing's going to work over here, and it is, so we're good to go. So this is Tropical Storm Gordon. Took the G name a couple days ago. This is not bothering anybody. It's just chilling out here in the North Atlantic, stationary, moving very slow, and it's just going to drift in this general direction over the next few to several days. And I mean, it'll take probably all the way till about like next Thursday, Friday to get to like right here. So it's not going to move much. Most model guidance has this kind of turning north. This could weaken and then re-strengthen. Will it become a hurricane? Not sure. Model guidance has been very flip-floppy on this system. Regardless of all that, I do not think this is going to bother anybody. It's just going to stay out here in the Atlantic, be what we call a fish storm. So no real point in speaking on that much more than that in this video. We'll continue to kind of, watch it, monitor it, if you will, but I don't think this is a big concern. Now, we are watching an area of unsettled weather off the coast of the southeast. I don't think today it'll do much. I think we really need to start watching this tomorrow more so into tomorrow night and a Monday morning. Today, I think it'll just try to get its act together. Something will try to consolidate, but I don't think we'll actually see it doing that maybe until tomorrow. But a bunch of unsettled weather. All this is actually extending all the way over to Bermuda. It looks like you guys are getting some unsettled weather, but this is all due to just a stalled out frontal boundary that's kind of draping across areas of the southeast. And sometimes you can get what we call homegrown activity, and sometimes we can get some energy that consolidates along this boundary and develops off the coast of the southeast or in the Gulf of Mexico. It happens about once or twice a year during hurricane season. So we're just kind of watching this area right here, not this one, this X I drew, but this one right here. And in fact, the National Hurricane Center does have this as an area of interest. We'll speak on that here in a second. Then we're watching the Caribbean too. I want to watch this area in the 7 to 10 day range, and I'll speak on that when we go over all the model guidance. So this is an update on the tropics. All in all, nothing, major concerning, no hurricanes out there. Here we are, peak hurricane season, and it's for the most part pretty chill out there. So the latest from the National Hurricane Center, we'll see if there's another update. There's not. So this is pretty much the 5 a.m. update. What's wild about Francine is Francine's kind of trapped, so it just continues like I would say the leftovers of the center of Francine's just pretty much drifting over the state of Arkansas. And this is actually going to be a promoting factor to a lot of rain across the deep south today, and we'll speak on that here in a second. But Gordon's out here. It's a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm, not bothering a soul, unless you're a fish out here and you're tuning in and you're like, Mitch, you need to talk about my area of the sea. It's definitely bothering us out here, but I don't think we have any whales or sharks tuning in this morning. But anyways, this area is what we need to watch. Has now a 50% chance to develop off the coast of the southeast, develop into a tropical depression or our next named storm, which is the H name Helene. I think that here in about, 30, 45 minutes when we get our 8 a.m. update, we are probably going to have a bump up from 50 to 60. Heck, they might go from 50 to 70. They might not at all, but I really think, and they're calling it a non-tropical area of low pressure, but I think that this could definitely gain some subtropical or tropical characteristics. In fact, if you read down here in the discussion, it says, a subtropical or tropical depression or storm could form early next week while the system moves generally northwestward across the coast, towards the coast. So they're saying there's a chance this is going to become our next named storm. So we definitely need to watch this. So this is going to be the main topic in this update. Now, we'll say, there's the cone for Gordon if you're interested, just tracking a fish storm. Storm today could weaken into a depression, then back into a storm by late next week. Now, let's go over the model guidance here. Okay, we're going to speak specifically on this area we are watching that could become Helene. All right, we're going to start off for tomorrow morning. So already initializing this as 1,007 millibar low off the coast of the Carolinas. We continue to move to about tomorrow evening. It already has this deepening. There's the L right here. It's kind of just glitching out in the colors. But anyways, it's 1,003 millibar low tomorrow evening. So this is already close. If we're taking this as the actual solution and what's going to happen, this is already close to tropical storm status. And then check it out. We get into tomorrow night, like right in the middle of the night tomorrow night, and this is 1,001 millibar low. And then this deepens to a sub 1,000 millibar low for Monday morning. Could definitely take people by surprise from Myrtle Beach to Wilmington if something like this happens, because I don't think a whole lot of people's paying attention to this right now. So this has a 999 millibar low, making landfall right into the Grand Strand of South Carolina. And this would obviously push a big slug of tropical moisture right into southeast North Carolina, PD of southeast North Carolina, the PD of South Carolina, bring some gusty winds, a little bit of storm surge. But even, I would say, even if this does deepen to that strong of a storm system, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. But this certainly could bring a tornado threat across, eastern North Carolina. Obviously, this could bring some really gusty winds, and you got to watch Columbia up to Charlotte, up to Raleigh for sure. This is something to watch. This is kind of a quick developing story that we're, a scenario, I guess you would say, that could happen here in the next 48 to 72 hours. So we definitely got to watch this. And what's wild here is there's been a pretty significant tick south. Like this is the run prior, this is the run prior to that. The timeline's kind of sped up. And, you look at the run prior to this, and this was, heading towards more so the North Carolina coastline. Look at the latest run. This is more so the South Carolina coastline. So this would obviously continue to move north and bring a lot of rainfall up into the Mid-Atlantic, the Appalachian Mountains, which could use the rain for sure. We could all use the rain. But, we look at the Euro. The Euro has kind of stayed more conservative. But, we get into Monday morning, has 1,008 millibar low. So not as strong as the GFS at the same time frame. But then we start to get into Monday afternoon, not a whole lot of development. And then we start to get into Tuesday morning, and this still has not came on shore. If you note, go back to the GFS, by Tuesday morning, this thing's already like up into West Virginia. It makes its landfall Monday morning. Euro makes its landfall Tuesday morning and a tick north. But same thing, it would just bring a big slug of moisture, more so into North Carolina because it makes landfall a little bit further north, and Virginia all the way up to the Tidewater, to Delmarva, and all those places. And eventually could bring a lot of moisture across the Mid-Atlantic. So definitely need to watch this. I do want to, give my folks up here in the Northeast a little bit of attention here too, because if this does come, it's going to bring some moisture all the way up into West Virginia. Virginia could get moisture all the way up into Kentucky, Ohio, PA. Just got to watch. I think you folks in the Mid-Atlantic needs to watch this storm too. Just depending on the track, could bring some rain, maybe some gusty winds, maybe even some storms on the east side of this low. So it's something to watch here. If you look at the ensemble guidance, this is the GEFS ensembles from the 06Z, so the latest one that we have. Develops a lot of these members out of the 21 members that this shows. So definitely over half of these members form, and a lot of them go into South Carolina. So there has been I would say a tick south with this. Something to watch. Now, rainfall between now, and this takes us all the way out to about 8 a.m. Eastern Time, Friday. There's this weird gap over South Carolina. But if you're living in South Carolina, you're thinking, man, are we ever going to get some good rain? I wouldn't take this as the final solution. If this continues to tick south, then the heavy rain will continue to tick south. But I think regardless, eastern North Carolina up into Virginia could get a few to maybe as much as several inches of rain over the next several days, the next week. So definitely a lot of rain, maybe beneficial depending on how much you need to rain. But I do want to watch the Caribbean, okay? The GFS has been adamant on something popping off down here in the Caribbean. There's a lot of moisture. So we're actually all the way out to next Saturday. So we're starting this out like a week from today, right? A lot of tropical moisture down here, a lot of green you're seeing. Does anything consolidate? Well, it does. Like next weekend, like 8 days from now, pops off a low pressure south of Cuba, moves over Cuba. And in this case, we get all the way to 10 days out, brings a tropical system like due north right up to like the east, and just pretty much grinds down or grinds up the eastern shoreline of Florida. So this is some stuff we need to watch. This bring a tropical storm 10 days from now into the Georgia, South Carolina coastline. That's we don't know if that's going to happen. There's obviously a lot of back and forth, but if we kind of look at all these, kind of go way back here, about 5, 6, 7 runs back, there continues to show a lot of tropical moisture down here. Now, what about, say, let's back it up here to the Euro and kind of look at the same stuff down here. Does it show anything getting together? No. It shows a lot of energy down here in the Southwest Atlantic, the Caribbean, but it never really firmly gets anything going. So it's just stuff to watch. All in all, I would say we need to pay attention to this homegrown activity that's a lot closer to home over the next 48 to 72 hours. So, but anyways, moving forward, talking about the weather for our Saturday, there's some unsettled weather up here in the Pacific Northwest. It's starting to move into the northern Rockies, more so just rain than anything. So some showery conditions across Seattle, eastern Washington, starting to move into northern Idaho. We got this thin area of showers across Minnesota, and you just pretty much across areas in the Midwest and upper Midwest. We continue to just get pesky light rain, mist. I know college game days in Columbia, South Carolina, which, by the way, this is where I live. Big Gamecock fan here. We got a big game today, but not to go down the football wormhole here, but it's definitely a damp start to college game day. We're definitely getting a solid rainfall like down in southeast North Carolina right now, steady rain, and we have flash flood warnings ongoing in Alabama with this steady streamer of rain that continues just to go over some of the same areas it's been seeing it over the last few days. So deep tropical moisture, so we'll speak on that here in a second when we get to the southeast timestamp. Moving forward here, watches, warnings, and advisories. Of course, you do have those flood watches from Tennessee, several counties in Mississippi, many counties in Alabama, and areas in southwest Georgia. We have heat advisories across southern Florida, some dense fog advisories scattered about. We got red flag warnings across areas of Wyoming. We even got winter weather advisories across the Sierra Nevada, so maybe a little bit of snow up there. 'Tis the season, getting close, right? So the threat of flash flooding, if you live in that yellow area, it means you have a 15% chance of flash flood guidance being met within 25 miles in a given point. So we're certainly watching out for that. And we're going to zoom into that area here in a second. The risk of severe weather, just a marginal risk up here in South Dakota into northern Nebraska. Not a big deal at all. Watch out Valentine up the Pier, South Dakota. But the light green, general risk of thunderstorms everywhere else. The southeast, today, there's 2 areas I'm watching. One in Alabama, one kind of in the eastern Carolinas. Will continue to move forward here. You'll continue to get pushes of tropical moisture, tropical like downpours, some rumbles of thunder, some lightning as possible too, into Wilmington, the southern Outer Banks area. If you're vacationing in the Grand Strand up to Wilmington, definitely a soggy Saturday. But you could get a lot of rain with this, a couple inches of rain. You'll get these tropical downpours across areas of Florida with this stout moist flow in this area. And just look at this continuous feed and just development of shower and storm activity across Alabama up to Tennessee as we're getting into this evening. The Panhandle of Florida getting some storms also. And just a relentless cycle over the next 24 hours for sure in this area. But let's zoom in to Alabama, for example, and just the deep south. We take it to about midday. That is a lot of heavy rain. I mean, basically what you're seeing right now is likely going to be happening 6 hours from now also. From Florence down to Birmingham, down to Montgomery, Dothan, Auburn, Alabama. A rainy day. Now, this could be one of those weird setups where, you cruise on down to like Mobile, you're not going to get much rain at all. Maybe even as far it's close, I would say, is like northeast Alabama. Might not get a whole lot of rain, but right here in the middle, a lot of rain can fall. And this continues all the way into this evening. See the storms down there in the Panhandle of Florida too. We even got some storms popping off down here. I'm sure we are still trying to clean up down here in southeast Louisiana. But we got some storms that could mess up your outdoor activities. It's just trying to clean up. And then we start to get into the overnight hours, and then we take it all the way into tomorrow morning. We're still getting a lot of moisture in this area. So rainfall between now and just the next 24 hours. Look at that area of just 2 to as much as 3.5 inches of rain in central to northern Alabama, even a couple inches of rain up into western Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi could get a lot of rain too, all the way into southwest Georgia. So that will be the area. Those areas I just mentioned, the epicenter of the heaviest rain for today. The Northeast, another phenomenal day. It's just been a great dry week up here. I'm sure the leaves are starting to change. We're getting to this afternoon. Beautiful Saturday this evening. Beautiful weather. We take it all the way into Sunday morning. Nothing, not a drop of anything out here. So continue to enjoy your nice streak of weather. The south central U.S., we move this forward. We could get some showers that do push back into Arkansas, into Missouri. We just continue to get this little spin in the atmosphere from the leftovers of the week low that has not completely dissipated yet across Arkansas. You can actually see the weird motion of this. You see how this rain right here is going this way, and then this rain's kind of going that way. That is the week low that kind of drifts back into Mississippi this evening. So pretty wild stuff. It's kind of bogged down. It wasn't able to just fully escape and then dissipate. It's just kind of chilling down here in the Mississippi Delta area, honestly. But we get some storms in the Panhandle of Texas maybe tonight, maybe. And then we take it into the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, and yeah, it's pretty chill through that time period. So the north central U.S., the leftovers of those showers should dissipate. We could have the development of some more shower, maybe even an isolated storm across Wisconsin, anywhere across the Dakotas, the upper Midwest, but they'll be extremely isolated. But we'll get into this evening, and we could get some storms in the Dakotas. That's where we have that marginal risk. These could produce some gusty winds, some hail. Not a huge concern, but they will certainly develop in central South Dakota up into southern North Dakota, and then probably drift across the eastern Dakotas into the overnight hours and then weekend. So could wake up to some downpours across the UP and Michigan tomorrow morning. Out west, we'll continue to just get this moist feed into the Pacific Northwest. Nothing overly heavy or concerning, just some scattered showers across Washington and northwestern Oregon. And then as we're getting into tomorrow morning, we could do it all over again. But everybody else is southwest, maybe a little moisture in eastern Arizona. Everybody else across the western U.S., the Rockies, pretty chill weather. The eastern U.S., pocket of warmer air here across the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, 80s, low 90s. Southeast just kind of socked in clouds and rain, so just 70s and 80s. Northeast, a nice day in the 70s and 80s, warming back up. The south central U.S., unfortunately, you guys are blistering hot once again to the upper 90s, even low 100s. Even a pretty warm day across the Dakotas. I mean, the Midwest, the Great Lakes region will be warm today, definitely above average. And it's warming up back west. Not as cool as it's been over the last few days. So, yeah, guys, you have a wonderful day. That's all I got. I'm probably going to have a special evening video either tonight or tomorrow night, really kind of getting very detailed on the potential for Tropical Storm Helene. Not Helen, Helene. So, God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again soon.